Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be doing a stock analysis on Novavax. So if you like this video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And of course, remember this isn't financial advice. This is purely entertainment and educational purposes. Now, what is Novavax? It is an American company that is a biotech company, and they primarily focus on vaccines, which you can probably guess by the name Novavax. Now, I do kind of like this stock right now, but also have some things I don't like with it. First thing is the graph. If we go back, as you can see here, we are lying quite low currently. As you can see, all the way back in 22, we're trading all the way up in 142 bucks, and now it is horrid. We are trading at very, very low, and I'm gonna get into that later. Now, another thing I really don't like about it is how much it fluctuates between the RSI in quite short times. Now, more often than not, it will fluctuate, but here we see quite often it spikes and it has pitfalls, and it spikes and it has pitfalls within very short times of each other. And as you can see, we also did trade all the way back down to 4, then at one good earnings, boom, we're all the way up in 23, and then it pit fell again within quite short time. So I really don't like it. As you can see, it was all the way up in 24 back in June, and then by July it halved, and then that's what is it, almost a year since then, and it is half of that. So really, I don't like how the graph is. This shows a lot of speculation in the stock, which of course isn't great. Now currently I would not buy it at all because we've just seen a death cross, as you can see right here, and we also had a golden cross before that, and chances are we are gonna see another golden cross here. As you can see, the green line is almost crossing the yellow line, which would give us another golden cross. But in a company like this, where it is so unregular, I would not count on the technicals, at least in the golden crosses, too much, as well as the RSI. This is a bit more gut feeling kind of game with a stock like this. And now, as I said, in the RSI, I don't like how fluctuation it goes. If you don't know what the RSI is, that is your relative strength index. So if something is below 70 but above 50, it means it's in the upward trending channel, which means that the stock is going to go up if it's up here. If it's down here below 50 and above 30, it's in the downward trending channel and it's going to go down. And if it's above or below here, it's either oversold or overbought. So sometimes it's a great idea to buy a stock down here, or if you're wanting to get out of stock, it's a great idea to sell up here. But of course, it is relative. So let's say something is, as you can see right currently here, it was down in what RSI is that? But not in 12, and the stock price was 5. Say the stock price then now would have been 2. Well, then this wouldn't have shown as oversold currently. It would have been well. It probably would have shown that, but it wouldn't have been such a huge portion. It would have been quite a lot smaller because it is relative. So that is always something to keep in mind. Now it's a decent sized company with a market cap of 1 billion. Now, as you can see, the earnings, they lose money more often than not. As you can see, sometimes they do great. As you can see down here in Q1 in 2025, they beat their earnings by 792%, which is insane. That is also why they jumped on the day from 5.9 all the way up at max at 7. So as you can see right here, it jumped quite a lot, which is insane. They don't pay out on dividends, and you can probably guess why. As you can see, that is because they don't really make any money at all. As you can see, now they did lose quite a bit of their revenue, as to why I haven't been able to find out, but they're also reducing the loss in the net income, and we like to see that. So these light blue bars down here is how much money they're actually losing, and we want to see those get as small as possible down here and even up here with the dark blue bars, because this means that they're actually making money, more money than they're losing either ways. Now if you look at the financial, as you can see how they make money, well, vaccines. And where are they? They are in they used to be only the United States. Now they also are in Europe, North America, and the rest of the world. Now I don't. The reasons why they were so popular back in 2021 and 22 is, chances are they probably had something to do with the COVID vaccine, and just over vaccines was a quite hot topic within the biotech community back in the day, because this meant there were a lot of money. Also, just remember when the monkeypox was a few years back, well, a lot of stocks which had a monkeypox vaccine, they also jumped insanely on the day. So that is why this has jumped so much, and currently it is quite low. You can also see their earnings before the pandemic hit, it was quite low. So these were great years, but don't expect much until we see the next pandemic, or they get more vaccines, or diversify their portfolio. Now the performance of this stock, as you can see, it's quite an old company, all the way back to 95, as you can see, if I take every single year, as you can see, all over the place. More often than not down here, we did see this in 2020, 2000%, which is insane. So imagine you bought that back then, that would have been quite the ride. Now let's just take from 2010 and forward. Actually, let's and make it a bit smaller because it's a bit difficult to see because of this huge one up here. As you can see, some years we have great gains, like in 24 and in 18 and in 21, but then we have also some years with insane losses, 92% 50%. So we lost 92%, and we lost 50% of that 92% right after. So let's say it went from $10, then we're gone to $1 or 80 cents actually, and then we're gone to 40 cents after. So it is quite low currently because we saw these two huge years where they dropped, and even though it did spike a lot in 24 up with 59%, well, it did also lose quite a lot this year. So currently it is quite a speculative game. But something you have to be wary of in stocks that have dropped so much is, let's just zoom out on the stock on the, as you can see here, everybody who bought before you on all these prices, as you can see, well, they want to get out because they are just thinking that is also often why when something like this happens, where we see a huge increase. Let me just draw a line for you. As you can see, when we see this huge increase, well, then we often also see a huge decrease right after, like so. And that is because people think, great, I had a loss on this, which means that everybody else here who had a loss, or maybe some of those who had a nice gain down here, they thought, great, now the stock is cheaper and I want to get out as fast as possible. So always be a bit worried, because the cheaper a stock has become, and if it has fallen for quite a while, means basically everyone sitting there is having a loss on their books. So be careful, you're not the last idiot who buys in and then they're going to sell the stock and you're going to sit there with a huge loss for quite a while. So be very, very careful. Now the technicals in this stock for the day is a buy. For the month, however, it is a sell, which probably shouldn't surprise you. If we look at the graph, we can just see that it's quite volatile. We'll see some gaps in the graphs here, as you can see, back in late March and also in the mid to late April. Now these gaps means that the technical analysis, this one's right here, they can't do their job as properly because they only take for each candle. And when we are liking these big candles, but then they can't take that into the equation, which might be sometimes we see a fake sell or a getaway ad, a fake sell or a fake buy. So be quite careful on that one. So yeah, and also currently, as I said, we do have a death cross, so be a bit wary. If we have a golden cross here, we are gonna need to see some slow gains. We don't want to see a huge spike like this. If we see a spike like this, chances are we are just gonna see it being sold off immediately. We want to see a slow increase, like more like this, like so, because this means that more upwards momentum building slowly. Because chances are you get to sell on top here is basically zero, so we want a slow increase because this build more momentum, and this also means more investors see, hey, look at Novavax, it is gaining momentum and it's performing better and better, and more people will want to get in compared to when it's just these huge spikes. Now the analyst rating on this are quite crazy. As you can see, we only have 7 analysts on it, but we have 4 strong buy, 2 hold, and 1 strong sell. Even though we have a strong sell, we have no negatives, which means that even the strong sell is up, and that is probably this one on $7, which is up by 4%. So the average is up by 127%, and the maximum is up by 271. So this is, of course, a huge gamble, but if you were to gamble on a stock, this wouldn't be the worst gamble of all time, simply because of how cheap it is currently. But as I said, look at this, at the stock price earlier. Every one of those who bought before you, and even all the way back in 22, you can go on Yahoo Finance and look at their all-time graph. It really isn't that pretty. So this is quite a gamble, if you ask me. I don't like the stock overall, but I do like a bit of a gamble. Sometimes my portfolios, I of course have those myself. I don't own any Novavax, of course. But if you want to gamble, this wouldn't be the worst bet, but it sure shit wouldn't be the best bet either. Now, however, we can see on their annual earnings, they actually estimate to make money this year, and then some years in the future they also expect to lose money, but at least they are quite realistic and don't just overshoot it a lot to get the stock up. Of course, they're not allowed to do that, but I personally think sometimes we do see small companies overestimate how much money they're gonna make. So very interesting stock at the moment. If you want some maybe a bit high risk, high reward in the biotech, Novavax is quite possibly one of the best candidates you can get. Now, if you did like this video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And of course, remember, if you want to see more videos, please leave them in the comment section below and I will make them. Thanks for watching.